energy forecast for Wednesday, August 23rd. So today we have the moon in Scorpio all day. And of course, we've been in the Scorpio energy. It's been a little bit deep, a little bit dark, a little bit intense, if you will. We are peeling back the layers, kind of unearthing and revealing some problems, some obstacles, some challenges that we really have to confront, that we really have to kind of make an extra effort in order to change, in order to transform, in order to free us up to actually be able to move forward. Now today we shift into Virgo season. So of course there's always that intensity there. Jumping from one energy to the other, we are going to need a couple of days to kind of acclimatize to this particular Earth energy. But we also have Mercury going retrograde in its place of power in this Virgo energy just hours after the Sun moves into Virgo here today. So to say that we aren't going to be feeling the typical Virgo season energy is going to be an understatement. Now we have a lot of planets in a retrograde, which is a huge hint and clue that we are not making any kind of progress moving forward. The progress that we are going to be making is kind of figuring out our situation, sorting through the details, bringing endings and closures to some of the things that we have to clean up before we can go ahead and actually start planning for our future, making moves, taking action to actually see that progress with a new path, with a new direction. There's going to be a lot of confusion. That's what Mercury retrograde is all about, especially in his place of power, especially in an earth sign. We are definitely in for a very bumpy ride where thoughts are concerned, where communication is concerned, where technology, mechanics are concerned. We are definitely tunnel vision focused on the nitty-gritty of our lives, the details, the habits, the behaviors, the routines, the schedules that have landed us in this current state of chaos. We are going to identify the problems, we are going to fix them, we are going to heal them, we are going to solve them very slowly but surely. And of course, we are going to kind of rearrange, reorganize, restructure not only our inner realm, but our outer realm as well. So today is going to be a wackadoodle kind of energy day. We're going to be in a funk. We're highly irritable. We're on edge, semi-anxious, highly anticipating major surprises, major disruptions, major delays, major cluster Fs. We have this sense of waiting for the next ball to drop, and that's okay. We're going to have to, again, practice our ability to make sure that in our inner realm, we are safe, we are secure, we are stable. We need to practice making sure that we are not allowing external situations and circumstances to ruin our happy place, that we need to work very hard on stabilizing and strengthening throughout the rest of 2023, because of course we're in a lesson of 7. And we need to really work on this because again, 2024 coming at us, super dramatic, highly transformative, gonna be a shit show. So we're given this year as an opportunity to get right with ourselves first and foremost. Virgo season, Mercury retrograde in Virgo energy, gonna help us do just that. And so we are going to have a little bit of a bumpy ride, but we're all in this together. And the name of the game is to not react to your outside realm. Okay. So with that being said, there's 11 different aspects here today. 9 of them are going to involve the moon in Scorpio. So right out of the gate, we have the moon in Scorpio getting into the boxing ring, fighting it out, creating tension and conflict with Venus, who of course is retrograde in the heart and soul of the zodiac in this Leo energy. Now, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, she's been retrograde. She's had her rebirth. She's had her resurrection. She had a tough day here yesterday, squaring off with Jupiter, definitely highlighting where some disappointments are, where we maybe bit off more than we could chew, maybe where we overcommitted to certain circumstances, people, roles, obligations that didn't work out so hot, didn't work out so well. Of course, now that we're nearing the end of Venus's retrograde, she needs to kind of tap into her dark feminine energy, rise up, rise above, be 100% prepared to do all the hard things once she actually gets herself out of this dark pit and reaches surface level once again. So this particular square is going to put us in a tough situation, a tough funk. Keep in mind, Scorpio energy is about turning the darkness into light, turning the pain into a source of power. And right now we're very reflective back. Again, all these retrogrades, we're reflecting back at the choices that we've made from our wounded self, our egoic self. And of course, now that we've had some realizations, some revelations, some upgrades, we are leaning more into our real, raw, authentic self, our spirit self, our higher self. And of course, looking back on the situations and circumstances that we've created, we may not feel in alignment with those particular paths, connections, directions any longer. So this particular interaction is going to illuminate for us where it is that we're feeling heavy and weighted, where it is that we're feeling the dread, where it is that we're feeling stuck, blocked, challenged. And a lot of this has to do with our relationship dynamics. And therefore, out of this tension and conflict, we're going to realize what absolutely has to go. Either we're cutting it off fully, or we're manipulating the energy exchange, the amount of time, energy, and attention that we're putting in it, or we are just really creating distance, if you will, in some of these relationship dynamics that we know we can't continue with because they are going to hold us back. They're going to continue to trigger and activate the old version of ourselves that we fought very hard to kind of get rid of and move away from and grow through. And therefore, in order for us to be able to emerge, anchor in, and integrate as this new version of self, we do have to eliminate the amount of triggers and activations from our old world, our old version of self, bringing us back into the past. The moon in Scorpio energy is going to go ahead and directly sit across from Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings, the spiritual wisdom and knowledge that we've accumulated through the tough love life lessons of our lives. Jupiter is in Taurus energy. Taurus and Scorpio sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. Jupiter wants to push us out of our comfort zone. He wants us to see where it is that we have the ability to create a new realm, a new reality, new opportunities, new room for growth, new opportunities to experience different timelines, different soul contracts, different storylines. But of course, it's a very low and slow and steady progress that almost doesn't feel like any kind of progress at all because it is that slow. It will be one of these things where when we look back on this particular transit, Jupiter in Taurus energy from May 2023 to May 2024, we will be like, wow, we changed a lot. We were able to build a lot. We were able to bring a lot of opportunities for life. But being in it, we are seeing none of that. And that can be a little bit disappointing, a little bit defeating. So the moon sitting across from Jupiter right now, putting us in a situation where we have a lot of big feels. We have a lot of big feels with the moon in Scorpio anyway. We have a lot of fears popping up because we're on this precipice of being able to kind of deviate from what it is that we have been doing to adopt a new plan, a path, a direction, but that's going to require a lot from us. And again, I'll repeat myself, sometimes making the right decision doesn't feel good. It doesn't support us. It doesn't support happiness. It will in the long term, but the short term, it hurts. It's painful. So we're overwhelmed with emotion. We're overwhelmed with thought. We're overwhelmed with the possibilities, the opportunities for growth, for expansion, because there's a hesitancy there. We don't really want to change. We know we have to. We know there's certain parts of our lives that we actually do want to change, but the domino effect of the repercussions that will change, transform, and be altered due to us changing one thing is a little bit overwhelming for us at this particular moment at this particular situation and circumstance. So the moon goes ahead and makes a positive interaction with Pluto, its ruler. Pluto rules over the Scorpio energy. And so Pluto is retrograde in this Capricorn energy. He's the great transformer himself. We're retrograde, looking back, reflecting, getting a second chance at bringing some of the foundations and structures in our lives to a complete collapse, a complete close, if you will. And the moon interacting with Pluto in this way is empowering us. We are taking the darkness and turning it to light. We are taking the pain and using that as a source of power in order for us to boss up and take control of our lives back. So that is a very big deal. It's also a big deal because it's the last aspect that gets made under the sun being in Leo energy. We're at that critical crisis degree. And at 5:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have the sun move into Virgo energy. If you haven't listened to that astro forecast as of yet, I'm going to recommend you do so. If you haven't downloaded your Virgo season e-guide, I'm going to recommend you do that. We have 9 different astro events taking place in Virgo season that are all going to help us fine-tune what it is that we are letting go and what it is that we are attempting to build. And so when the moon shifts into this Virgo energy, you best believe that many of us are going to wake up in a funk. We're going to wake up feeling heavy, feeling weighted, feeling this intense pressure to do everything yesterday, to figure it out. We're going to have such rapid thoughts taking place in our mental plane, we don't know if we're coming or going. Now, after the sun actually moves into Virgo energy, the moon is going to interact with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy, in such a way that is going to illuminate the problem areas. Again, in Virgo season, any type of interaction with Virgo energy, the goal is to focus in on the problems, recognize what is broken, what is wounded, where the problem areas are in order for us to solve, fix, and repair them. The Virgo energy is a healing energy to the physical realm, to the physical body, to the physical circumstance. But in order for us to solve something, there has to be a problem for us to solve. Therefore, we are going to be highly fixated on identifying what isn't working, what doesn't feel good, what is broken, what is old, what is non-supportive, non-encouraging at this point. And when we fixate on the problem, the wheels start turning in order for us to fix, heal, and repair. So the moon interacting with Chiron right now gives us an opportunity to see very clearly the path, the choices, the decisions that we now have to either boss up, confront these issues, be that warrior type of spirit, align with our higher self, tackle these issues so that we can move on from this particular situation and start building towards the future. Or we can stay in the victimhood mentality where we keep repeating all of the reasons of why we're not successful, why we're not happy, why we can't move ahead. And again, a lot of that is blaming external circumstances for the situation that you find yourself in, not realizing that you, in your mental plane, with your focus, with your narrative, with that inner dialogue, has created the situations, good, bad, or otherwise, that you're currently experiencing in your physical realm. So this is like a choice point on, are you going to boss up and deal with your issues and confront them head on so that we can resolve them, so we can move on in life? Or are you going to sit in the funk and continuously use outside circumstances as the, I'm going to say, focus for your disappointment, for your failures, for your hurt, for your pain, for your trauma? This is a choice point. The moon is going to sextile, beautiful energy, beautiful interaction with Mercury. Okay, so this is an interesting little jam. Mercury is about to go retrograde. This is the last aspect that Mercury is even involved in before he goes retrograde. Now, granted, he's been standing still pretty much for the last 10 days in the same kind of spot. You know, he's slowing his orbit. He's standing still. He's being kind of prepped and prepared to be drugged and put in an altered state of consciousness, because that's what a retrograde is all about. So we have the moon, which is our heart space, our emotions, our intuition. We have Mercury, which is our head space, information, details, how it is that we're coming up with thoughts, ideas, and opinions, how it is that we communicate and express that outwardly. This particular interaction, because it's a sextile, means that the moon and Mercury, our heart and our head, are getting on the same page. What page is that, you may ask? The page that is going to be bold and brave and courageous enough to identify the problems, to sit in the funk, to examine the pain, examine the wounds, examine the trauma, to boss up, to heal them, to grow through them, to repair them, to fix them. Mercury in Virgo energy, ready to dissect how it is that these events were even created, how we can kind of flip the script in our inner narrative, how it is that we can kind of flick over that first domino effect that is going to change our emotions and our perspective and our understanding on how it is that we can use some of the not so nice experiences in our past as motivation, inspiration, and fuel to be better, to grow up, to empower ourselves. And this is a very interesting dynamic to take place at this particular point in the day, because it's followed up with the moon in Scorpio directly opposing and sitting across from Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is in this Taurus energy as well. Again, Scorpio, Taurus energy sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. In order to feel good physically, align with one's self-worth, be able to bring new ideas into form, into creation, into this physical realm, you have to do the shadow work. Scorpio energy is the shadow work. It's emotional, it's intuitive, it's spiritual. We have to kind of release the emotional baggage of the past in order for us to have the space to grow something new. That growth is the Taurus energy. Now, granted, Uranus being in Taurus energy, not its most favorable spot. This Uranian energy that we are sitting across from right now is providing us a jolt of lightning, a jolt of ideas, a jolt of inspiration, an aha moment, an epiphany, to understand where it is that we have to see ourselves in the situations that have created us from a different light, so that we can lighten the load, lighten the baggage, so that we can understand where it is that letting go, surrendering, releasing some of these aspects of the past is going to help us make a major pivot in our lives, major change in our lives, see things from a different level of awareness, and essentially put us in a place of empowerment. Now, 3:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mercury is going to go retrograde. Go ahead, take a listen to that astro forecast if you haven't already. Take a flip through your Virgo season e-guide. There's a spot for Mercury's retrograde. We have to capture the energy, the topics and themes that are in our faces at this particular moment, as we are going to be exploring those particular topics and themes throughout the next couple of weeks of not only Virgo season, but Mercury being retrograde. So we kind of sit for about 4, close to 5 hours with nothing going on. And again, this is going to be a lot of pressure in the head. You may have physical symptoms of dizziness, of ear popping. Go ahead, take a listen to the ascension forecast for this week to understand how the energy is going to manifest in your physical body with some of these changes. Then the moon in Scorpio is going to interact with Chiron again, but this time in a positive way. Suddenly, we understand that, guess what? You know what? We have the warrior type of spirit. We're ready to kind of rise up. We're ready to confront these issues. We're ready to kind of take some things and work them out, work through them, grow through them. This is an empowering type of energy. And we are bossing up to understand that the minute that we have control over our inner realm, especially where our thoughts and our emotions are concerned, we are untouchable. This is exactly the kind of energy, the kind of mood, the kind of attitude that the moon in Scorpio is trying to promote. The moon is then going to interact with the North Node in Aries energy. So this is going to be a little bit of an interesting dynamic, because it presents to us paths, choices, decisions, options, alternatives. Keep in mind that the North Node in Aries energy is trying to get us on the right path in order for us to reach our soul's mission, our soul's potential. We have an 18-month tough love life lesson coming at us. And in this particular interaction, it's actually a little bit refreshing, because we have been on the Scorpio and Taurus axis of the tough love life lessons for the last 18 months. And now the Scorpio energy is a little bit relieved that we're not really under pressure, under the squeeze the way that we have been for the last 2 years. But granted, the moon in Scorpio understands that Mars, who rules over the Scorpio energy, is the king leading us, if you will, on this path of learning who it is that we are, being confident, and I'm going to say proud enough to stand in who it is that we are. The North Node in Aries wants us to be more independent, wants us to break free from the relationships, the team, the group, whatever the case may be, that puts us in a situation to constantly put our own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner. We need to be more independent. We need to be more free. We need to take the leadership role. We need to be centered in ourselves. And so the moon interacting with the North Node in this way is going to illuminate two different paths. One that allows us a little bit more independence, freedom, and get to know thyself. And one that pretty much makes us settle for where it is that we're at. And we're not happy about it, but that's what you get when you're not brave enough to boss up, to do the work, and to actually grow through what it is that you're going through. The last aspect that we have here today is the moon in Scorpio, trining, which is a beautiful energy, with Neptune, who is retrograde in Pisces energy, which just happens to be its rulership. So this is some serious water on water action. And what we know about water is that it is highly transformative, super intuitive. It is taking us to a place where we're aligning with our higher selves, where we're getting downloads of intuition and inspiration, where we're being reminded of who it is that we naturally are without all this egoic bullshit. This is reminding us of our dream and our vision, reminding us what it is that we're inspired to pursue, reminding us that, guess what? We have dreams, we have goals, we have objectives that we want to reach, but we really have to tackle our fears and our doubts and our insecurities that's preventing us from actually launching ourselves in the path of the pursuit of this new happiness. The equal energy of what it is that we want, need, and desire is being blocked by our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. So being in this dark feminine energy, being in this warrior type of mentality does put us in a very good position to boss up out of those particular narratives, out of that energy. We are doing the internalized work right now to build ourselves up, to get our mind, body, and soul all in alignment with a specific direction, goal, dream, vision. So that when we are given the green light go ahead by the universe, which won't happen for quite some time because we're cleaning up the elements of the past with all these planets in a retrograde, when we're given the green light go ahead, we will not have all of this emotional baggage weighing us down and cluster effing the energy and efforts that we will be putting forward into rearranging, restructuring our physical realms to break free of the constructs of the old system, routine, foundation, structure, relationships, the whole kit and caboodle that our old version of self has created. Because now we are bossing up to an enlightened version of ourselves where we're not going to let those particular aspects hold us back. We're going to push forward. We're going to rise up. We are going to confront any challenge, obstacle, detour that gets thrown in our face and in our way. And we are going to be successful in breaking free of this particular paradigm that our old selves have built.